Well, guys, good evening. As usual, we are heading to the final part of our course. Today in the afternoon, I sent, sorry, the typical message that I always send, like reminding you that we have different things to finish the cycle. It is always the same thing, actually. It collects the same information. Let me share the screen just like to refresh your memory. But at the end of the day, I think that the, let's say, new information that each email has is related to the dates of every single assignment. Up to this point, you already know the percentages. You already know that for this cycle, we're doing units 9 to 12 in the virtual campus. In our case, we are going to have until Saturday 29th. You know that we finish our cycle this Friday, the day after tomorrow. But the good thing, let's say, is that we have our 2 days of break. Now we are actually going to have 2 days. So we have the holiday, we have 2 days, and then we begin B1.4. But anyway, I think that it is okay if we have one extra day to do the activities in the virtual campus. That means, okay. Someone was waiting, sorry. So the activities until Saturday. Don't forget that part. When I say the activities, I'm talking about Moodle, okay? Don't forget that for the project, the deadline is tomorrow, tonight on the second hour, well, probably 45 minutes. You will be working on the third advance. Yesterday, I told you, like, to refresh your memory, that the idea is to make, like, the final visual aid, like that, let's say, PowerPoint presentation that you will be using in your video. That is the idea. Here, I include also the link where you can upload that third advance. Well, you know that on Friday, we have our final exam. Here we have the parameters that, once again, you know the parameters very well. Tomorrow, I will refresh your memory on probably the most relevant aspects to keep in mind. But at the end of the day, the general idea of the exam is pretty much the same that we have been covering since when we began A2. So, as usual, the typical email to refresh your memory. Remember the dates in case that you don't remember, or maybe you don't know where the first email is with this one that is closer in time. You have the information. Don't forget the dates. That is like the first and crucial part. Well, guys, for tonight, we continue working on our final unit, that is unit 12. And we are going to focus once again on this first part of the session on this grammatical component, talking about hypothetical situations in the past using if. At the end of the day, we will be talking about the third conditional. But as usual, you know the drill. Before we start on our topic, I'm going to take attendance. Or in the meantime, guys, do you have any questions about the email? Maybe a question. Okay. Today is the 26th. Karen Victoria Acevedo.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Steven Santiago Fonseca.
Here, teacher.
Very good. Kiara Lisette Martínez.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Jorge Jair Moreno.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Natalia Navarro.
Present.
Okay. Diego Fernando Olarte.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Joan Sebastián Paón. Not here for the moment. Beatriz Pedraza. Beatriz.
Teacher.
Okay. Xiomara Caterina Rincón.
Present.
Okay. Jessica Paola Ríos.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Catherine Alexandra Rodríguez.
Present, Miss.
Okay. Marlon Yesid Sánchez. Not here for the moment. Mendy Fabián Santa.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Mendy, don't forget to change your name in the chat thing. Manuel Alberto Sepúlveda. Not here for the moment. He's not here tonight. María Alejandra Vega.
Present, teacher.
Okay. And Vanessa Zambrano.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Well, guys, as I was telling you, well, tonight we continue working. And this is a continuation, you know, of the modal verbs on one part and the conditionals on the other part. The good thing about conditionals is that they are always, let's say, combination of tenses in English that we already know. Although the most important aspect is the grammatical component, we will have a look also at listening, to a listening exercise, and also to a, let's say, collaborative part in terms of group work, but it is going to be something like very general, to be honest. Well, guys, okay, in our book, we are talking about pages 118 and 119. These are our pages in this case, like the ones that we use as a point of reference. So I'm going to my presentation one more time. This first part is what we see on the book, you know, and the title says the toughest decision of their lives. This is the introduction of a story that we are going to listen, okay? For the moment, we only have the written version. There is a microphone open. I don't know if you have any question, guys. Let me see. Okay, good. I want to read the instruction for you. It says, read the introduction about a journey Andrew and Deborah Beale decide to make. How would you feel in that situations? What problems might you have? Keep these two questions in mind based on what we're going to read on this introduction. Remember, we're going to listen to the complete stories. Catherine, could you read this paragraph that we have in here, please?
Yes, Miss. In October 22, Deborah and Drew Beale, a couple from Southwest London, entered the World Events Atlantic Rowing Challenge. They will race 34 other crews, rowing 5,000 kilometers from Tenerife in the Canary Islands to Barbados in the Caribbean. A journey expected to take 60 days. To do this, each team of 2 people rows 24 hours a day in shift of 2 hours.
That's it. Okay. If you wonder what rowing is, don't forget to have a look at the book. Here in the pictures, we can see what that action is about, okay? So what is that activity, rowing, guys? If we look at the pictures from the book.
Remo, remar.
Remar, very good. So that was the activity that they were doing. Let's say that contest that they started, 118, hold on. Give me a second, please. Let me see. Sorry, thank you, guys. Okay, that is the first part. So now we can imagine what that activity was. The type of event, and notice the distance in terms of those two places We were talking about 5,000 kilometers from the Canary Islands. Remember that the S is silent, to Barbados. So this is the story. We know the activity. We know the amount of kilometers. Don't forget the two questions that we have in here. How would you feel? Let me go back to the book, to my presentation, sorry. How would you feel in that situation? And what problems might you have? Natalia, I'm gonna ask 3 of you guys. So how would you feel? What problems might you have? Natalia.
Yes, teacher. I am reading again.
Okay.
According with the test, first, I think that I feel at the beginning, I feel a little scared because it's something extreme in my way to see. And during the journey, I think that in some case, I will feel tired, and no, and I did that in one moment. I will feel that I am not able to finish the challenge. But at the end, I'm sure that I try it and I make that happens.
Okay. Great, Natalia. Thank you very much. Next point of view. Kiara, what about you? How would you feel in that situation and possible problems?
Teacher, I think I could be very disappointed and and less excited because this kind of sport I doesn't like.
I don't like
I don't like it.
this kind of a group. Okay.
What problems? I think maybe that they don't have enough energy for the traject for
The trip, the journey, Maria, the journey.
yes.
Okay. Kiara, thank you very much. One more, Diego, what about you? Let's see, let me see. Okay, Diego, that's it. Marlon, what about you? Marlon? Okay, where is Marlon? Santiago, what about you?
Well, teacher, I would be completely scared because, well, the water and especially the ocean is unpredictable in all the ways. Apart of that, I could have all the possible problems that a boat could have because, well, I have no idea about how drive or control a boat.
Okay, Santiago, that's true. Thank you very much. Well, guys, let's have a look at our book. Remember, that is located, or the activity is located on our page 118. These were already the questions that you guys answered. Let's have a look at number 2. As you can imagine, of course, something went wrong for the couple after a few days of the race. Look at the keywords from the story. Can you guess what happened? Let's have a look at all these words that we have in here. As usual, for the moment, first we're going to read them. Beatriz, could you read the words that we have in this box, please?
Yes, teacher. An experienced grower. To abandon the race. To support someone, sorry. To shake with fear. A collision, a phobia, loneliness, charts, a violent storm, an oil tanker, a rescue boat, a motivational speaker.
Okay. A violent storm and rescue boat. Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, Beatriz. So notice that for the moment, these are keywords that you are going to listen in a moment. Remember that this is more related to a listening exercise. If we have a look, at these words and phrases, somehow we can start having an idea of what went wrong. Then, as you know already, we're talking about that there was a negative moment in their trip, in their journey, sorry. By looking at the words, once again, we don't know. We are just predicting, right? What do you think happened? Well, Jessica, you opened your microphone, so what do you think happened? Jessica?
Teacher, I was not wasn't in my house.
Okay. Okay, but now you are. Okay, don't worry, Jessica, that's it. Okay, I thought that you wanted to participate so much that you opened the microphone. But I will ask you later, don't worry. Let me ask Xiomara. By looking at those words and phrases, what prediction can we make from that?
Yes, teacher. I call pass maybe a violent storm. Violent storm.
Violent,
A rescue bot.
Okay. Okay, so there was a violent storm and eventually a rescue boat. Thank you. Another prediction, Jorge. What do you think happened?
It's difficult.
I
didn't know how those persons could feel in that situation because I think that probably could happen a collision with other bots.
Other boat. Good.
And probably someone had to hurt.
Someone had to hurt?
Because I don't know, teacher.
We're predicting, Jorge. Someone got hurt, not had to hurt. But okay, that is a good prediction. Yeah, the words, of course, are giving us just like a very general idea. One more. Mandy, what do you think happened just by looking at those words and phrases?
Yes, teacher. Watching these words, probably accident in the sea with a boat or uh, with people in a boat, teacher.
Okay, we'll see. An accident. You said an accident. Okay,
Yes.
very good, guys. Thank you, Mandy. Well, we're going to listen to the first part of the story. You're going to notice that maybe compared to other listening activities, this is shorter. It is only 1 minute and 24 seconds. I'm going to put it here. With this information that we have in here, you are going to answer the 3 questions that we have displayed in our book. Maria, could you read the 3 questions, please?
What experience did Deborah and Andrew have of rowing? 2. How did they react to life on the ocean? 3. What happened a few days into the trip? How did Andrew react?
React. Very good. So remember, guys, the beginning of the story. That means that for the moment, we are not going to get like the final outcome or the final, yeah, that's it, outcome. Guys, do you have any questions related to vocabulary from these 3 first questions? Nothing.
No, teacher.
Okay. We're going to listen 3 times. Once again, as I told you, notice that it is not as long as the other listening exercises that we have done. In this case, we are going to, let's say, listen. You guys are going to answer the questions. It's going to be done individually. Keep that in mind. Let me see the chat. Loneliness, soledad. That would be the idea. Let's listen.
Three. Andrew, who was 35, was an experienced rower who had won international competitions. However, Deborah, who was 27 and a physical education teacher, had only learnt to row the year before the competition. But she soon found she enjoyed life on board the tiny 7-metre boat. From early on, however, it was clear that Andrew was suffering from acute anxiety and had developed a phobia for the ocean, something he had never experienced before. At first, Deborah and Andrew tried to overcome this, and they continued their journey. Then one day, the boat was caught in a violent storm. Deborah found Andrew in the cabin, shaking with fear and unable to even talk to her. It was clear that Andrew could not continue. With the nearest rescue boat 5 days away, Deborah and Andrew had to make the toughest decision of their lives. Should Deborah abandon the race in order to return home with her husband, or continue to Barbados, knowing that she would have to face the dangers of the Atlantic alone? Unit 12, Recording 3. Andrew, who was 35, was an experienced rower who had won international competitions. However, Deborah, who was 27 and a physical education teacher, had only learnt to row the year before the competition. But she soon found she enjoyed life on board the tiny 7-metre boat. From early on, however, it was clear that Andrew was suffering from acute anxiety and had developed a phobia for the ocean, something he had never experienced before. At first, Deborah and Andrew tried to overcome this, and they continued their journey. Then one day, the boat was caught in a violent storm. Deborah found Andrew in the cabin, shaking with fear and unable to even talk to her. It was clear that Andrew could not continue. With the nearest rescue boat 5 days away, Deborah and Andrew had to make the toughest decision of their lives. Should Deborah abandon the race in order to return home with her husband, or continue to Barbados, knowing that she would have to face the dangers of the Atlantic alone?
Unit 12, Recording 3.
Andrew, who was 35, was an experienced rower who had won international competitions. However, Deborah, who was 27 and a physical education teacher, had only learnt to row the year before the competition. But she soon found she enjoyed life on board the tiny 7-metre boat. From early on, however, it was clear that Andrew was suffering from acute anxiety and had developed a phobia for the ocean, something he had never experienced before. At first, Deborah and Andrew tried to overcome this, and they continued their journey. Then one day, the boat was caught in a violent storm. Deborah found Andrew in the cabin, shaking with fear and unable to even talk to her. It was clear that Andrew could not continue. With the nearest rescue boat 5 days away, Deborah and Andrew had to make the toughest decision of their lives. Should Deborah abandon the race in order to return home with her husband, or continue to Barbados, knowing that she would have to face the dangers of the Atlantic alone?
Okay. Guys, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to organize your ideas. I'm sure that you took some notes, probably some isolated words. So the idea that in the following 3 minutes individually, like here in the class normal, let's put it like that, you are going to organize information and then we're going to check the answers. 3 minutes starting now. Okay. Well, the first question, the type of experience. Debra and Andrew definitely were completely different on that aspect. Well, first, any volunteer that thinks that has the answer?
Me, teacher.
Okay, Jorge. Yes. So what about Debra?
Debra is a physical education teacher,
Mm-hmm. Good.
and she hadn't belonged in any competition before.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Great, Jorge. And what about Andrew?
Andrew is an experienced rowing,
Mm-hmm.
and he participated in an international competition.
Mm-hmm. Participated. Excellent, Jorge. Very good. So they were two like completely different people in terms of the experience related to that part. How did each react to life in the ocean? What happened with them? A different volunteer? Or I choose?
Me,
Yes, Catherine, great.
Andrew was suffering from
Anxiety.
anxiety and shaking with fear. And Debra enjoy life on board.
Mhm. Enjoyed. Mhm.
Enjoyed.
Fast. Excellent, Catherine. Very good. They talk about acute. That was a type of anxiety that Andrew got. Guys, did you look for the meaning of that word that is sent to the chat? Acute?
No, miss.
Agudo. So actually it was kind of complicated. And the third, what happened a few days into the trip? How did Andrew react? In this case, we're talking about, let's say, only Andrew. Any different volunteer that thinks that has the answer? Okay. So I'm choosing. Karen, what happened to Andrew?
Andrew developed a phobia,
Uh-huh.
and he was shaking with fear
Mhm.
at the cabin.
The cabin. Mhm.
The cabin.
Mhm. Mhm. Very good. And from these events, I mean, from the vocabulary, guys, which of these, let's say, yeah, tragic events happened? Was it something with sharks? Which of these ones was? Do you remember, maybe?
Phobia, violent storm.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, they're very good. So for the moment, the violent storm, and of course with the information that Karen has already shared. Very good, guys. Me gusta manito. Okay, we're gonna listen to the second part. But before we listen to it, what do you think they decided to do? Well, we know the type of experience that they had that Jorge already shared. Then we know that there was a difficult situation for Andrew. He developed a phobia, as Catherine said, and there was a violent storm, as Santiago was saying. So guys, what do you think Andrew and Debra decided to do after all those situations? Maria, just a prediction. For the moment, we don't know. What do you think was their decision?
Um, they um, um,
Guess, Maria, guess. Make up a prediction.
um, they decide los trip.
Sorry, Maria. I'm just asking only maybe just for context for everybody. Like, I'm just asking the first question here from the instruction 4. We already know how the story started. So what do you think they decided to do after the violent storm, after Andrew got like this phobia that he was shaking with that acute anxiety? What do you think was their decision? Once again, we don't know. We are just guessing. That is basically like the idea of this moment. Vanessa, a prediction.
This is, I think Andrew have to go to the hospital, maybe.
Maybe.
Mhm.
Okay. That's a good prediction. Go to the hospital. Maria sent to the chat. They decided to leave the trip, maybe. Like they said, okay, we can't do it. Let's go back, probably. Here we have 7 questions. It is a lot of information, but once again, the listening is not as long as we may think. Let's read the 7 questions that we have in here. Beatriz, could you read questions 1, 2, and 3, please?
Yes, Miss. Number 1, did they agree about what to do? Number 2, what physical dangers did Deborah face? Number 3, why was day 74 of her trip a particularly good one?
That's it. Dangers for number 2.
Dangers? Dangers? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Beatriz. Good. Jessica, please, could you read 4, 5, 6, and 7?
Okay, number 4. How long had she been at sea when she arrived in Barbados?
Barbados.
Barbados. And number 5. Who was waiting to meet her? Number 6. How many days begin?
Behind.
Where was she? And number 7. In what ways has her life changed since then?
Since then. Thank you, Jessica. And this one behind. Very good. Well, this is like the final part of the story. Notice that we have more information to collect from here. In this case, the track takes 2 minutes and 33 seconds, if I'm not
Unit
mistaken.
12.
Yes. So, of course, once again, the idea, guys, is for you to take some notes in order to get the information. In this case, we're going to listen only twice. Notice that now the listening is a little bit longer. And of course, then after this, we will take a few minutes to organize the information and then to share the answers as a group and also to know how the story finishes. Before we listen to the final part of the story, guys, do you have any questions related to vocabulary?
No.
Okay, thank you. Let me make sure that I'm sharing sound. Yes. Remember, we're gonna listen twice, guys. Please take some notes.
12. Recording 4.
At this stage, Deborah could easily have given up and gone back to England with her husband. But she passionately believed she could complete the journey alone and become only the 10th woman ever to cross the Atlantic by rowing boat. Andrew supported her 100% in her decision. They spent the 5 days needed for the rescue vessel to reach their boat, preparing for Deborah's solo journey. When Andrew finally departed, she wrote in her diary, "I couldn't help thinking that if anything went wrong, we might never see each other again." Once she was alone, Deborah could only sleep for short periods, due to the danger of a collision with the huge oil tankers, which would have sunk a tiny boat like hers. Sharks and extreme weather conditions added to the dangers. Apart from the physical problems, Deborah suffered from severe loneliness, particularly around Christmas, after more than 3 months at sea on her own. The only human contact she had, apart from messages of advice and support from her husband, was on day 74 of the journey, when she unexpectedly met a yacht called Seventh Heaven. The people on board gave her a loaf of fresh bread, some biscuits, and, more importantly, she says, 10 minutes of talking face to face with some other human beings. However, finally, after 113 days at sea, Deborah rowed into Port St. Charles, Barbados. Journalists and TV cameras were there to meet her, and her husband was among the crowd of people waiting with bottles of champagne. The official winners of the race had arrived 70 days earlier, but for the media and the public, Deborah was the true winner. The Queen even rewarded her courage with a special honour and made Deborah an MBE, Member of the British Empire. However, although Deborah and Andrew always supported each other's decision, they divorced soon after the race, and Deborah has remarried. She now has a successful career as a motivational speaker.
Unit 12, Recording 4.
At this stage, Deborah could easily have given up and gone back to England with her husband. But she passionately believed she could complete the journey alone and become only the 10th woman ever to cross the Atlantic by rowing boat. Andrew supported her 100% in her decision. They spent the 5 days needed for the rescue vessel to reach their boat, preparing for Deborah's solo journey. When Andrew finally departed, she wrote in her diary, "I couldn't help thinking that if anything went wrong, we might never see each other again." Once she was alone, Deborah could only sleep for short periods, due to the danger of a collision with the huge oil tankers, which would have sunk a tiny boat like hers. Sharks and extreme weather conditions added to the dangers. Apart from the physical problems, Deborah suffered from severe loneliness, particularly around Christmas, after more than 3 months at sea on her own. The only human contact she had, apart from messages of advice and support from her husband, was on day 74 of the journey, when she unexpectedly met a yacht called Seventh Heaven. The people on board gave her a loaf of fresh bread, some biscuits, and, more importantly, she says, 10 minutes of talking face to face with some other human beings. However, finally, after 113 days at sea, Deborah rowed into Port St. Charles, Barbados. Journalists and TV cameras were there to meet her, and her husband was among the crowd of people waiting with bottles of champagne. The official winners of the race had arrived 70 days earlier, but for the media and the public, Deborah was the true winner. The Queen even rewarded her courage with a special honour and made Deborah an MBE, Member of the British Empire. However, although Deborah and Andrew always supported each other's decision, they divorced soon after the race, and Deborah has remarried. She now has a successful career as a motivational speaker.
Okay, similar to the previous exercise that we did, I want to give you 3 minutes to organize your information, your ideas, and then we check. 3 minutes starting now. Okay, guys, time's up. Let's have a look at the answers. Remember that in this case, it was like a kind of short. No, I thought that someone was waiting in the waiting room. It was kind of short listening compared to the other ones anyway. 7 questions, well, requires a lot of information to be collected. The first one, yes, no question. Let's see. Beatriz, did they agree about what to do? Yes or no?
Teacher, for the start, no, because she did intend for the role alone.
Did intend? She tried?
She tried, yes. She did try. She
She
tried.
tried
She tried for a role alone.
to roll.
To roll alone.
But they agreed, Beatriz. I mean, they made the decision and they agreed.
Agree?
Yeah, because the decision was that she was going to row alone. So
Oh,
then
okay.
she was left, let's say, alone in the boat, and Andrew was rescued.
Okay. But yeah, I tell you the answer, but I understand the question, teacher. I think the question is about the no continue. But yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I see. You
Yeah.
got it from the other perspective. I get it.
Yes.
Okay, Beatriz, thank you. As a conclusion, yes. Diego, yes, you raise your hand. Do you have the second?
Yes, teacher.
Okay.
For the physical danger with Deborah only could sleep short times because she could have a collision.
Exactly. That was one. Any other physical dangers?
I don't remember, teacher.
Okay. Jorge, any other physical dangers besides the collisions?
No, teacher.
Okay. Well, also, well, in this part was, yes,
Loneliness?
but technically that is not a physical danger. Let's see the chart. Vanessa said sharks. Okay, Beatriz also said loneliness. More like sharks, like the collision, the sharks, the extreme weather conditions. But yeah, the
Extreme weather
loneliness
conditions.
was also something that affected her, but not from the physical point of view. But good, that was also part of that. Number 3, Karen. Why was day 74 of her trip a particularly good one? Karen? Karen, I can't hear you well. Like the sound is really low.
Sorry. Teacher,
¿Mm?
¿me escucha?
Sí, señora.
Okay. The day he found with another board.
Okay. A judge. And do you remember what she did in the judge, Karen?
He talked with a person during she talked with a person.
Very good. She also had some food as well. Catherine, how long had she been at sea when she arrived to Barbados? How many days?
74, around 3 months.
74 days doesn't match 3 months. Do the math. 113, yes. That would be around 3 months. Catherine, well, Vanessa actually, and Beatriz. Diego said 214, almost, but yes. Okay. Number 5. Who was waiting to meet her? Kiara. Let's see the chat. Okay, she said sorry. Or maybe she can talk. I think that's the thing. Beatrice says her husband. Very good. Who else? Only her husband? Maria. Let's see the chat. Okay, the chat is on fire. Yara says that is very noisy. Yeah, that's sad. Let's see the help that your classmates are sending you, Maria. Her husband and other people. Very good. That was from Jorge. Vanessa says journalists and cameras. Very good. So besides the husband that you had already said, we were talking about also journalists and, people that were also, let's say, interested on going to see how she could get to Barbados. How many days behind the winner was she? Sorry for that weird pause. Marlon. How many days behind the winner was she? Only 7? No, actually it is more. Marlon? Well, he's here in spirit. Natalia, how many days?
Teacher, I heard that say 70 days early.
Not early, late. So the real winners arrived 70 days before. So it is 70 days. Absolutely. Very good. 77? No.
No,
Almost.
70.
Only 70. Okay. Very good. Well, it was a little bit tricky. Okay, Marlon, thank you. And final question, Santiago. In what ways her life changed since then?
Well, teacher, she after that, she became a motivational speaker. She got I don't know, a title from the Queen of England. And part of that, I think she remarried with her husband.
She remarried. Actually, she got divorced. She remarried. She married, sorry, with a different guy. But she got divorced
Well,
from
after
Andrew.
that, wasn't.
Sorry?
After that, who wanted to do it?
Okay, that's a different discussion. Santiago, thank you. Okay, guys, very good. We know that this exercise is a little bit tricky. Listening always tend to be like that. But the only way to improve it is by practicing and practicing and practicing. Well, guys, let's not forget that in terms of grammar, the focus that we have tonight is hypothetical situations in past using if. And these statements that we have in here are actually putting into practice that grammatical structure. I'm going to read the instruction for you. It says, match the sentences halves about Debra and Andrew Veal. And the final listening of the night, you're going to listen and check. But first, remember, guys, that you have to match. And then after matching, we're going to listen so we can have a look at that grammatical component. Could you read the sentences on part A, please? Vanessa?
Okay, teacher. One, if Andrew had known about his phobia. Two, if Andrew has stayed on the boat. Three, is Deborah's boat had hit an oil tanker. Four, if they had continued the race together. Five, if Deborah hadn't had the experience.
Very good. And Xiomara, please, could you read the section of B?
It would have soon B. She wouldn't be a successful motivational speaker now. C. His phobia will have good words. D. He wouldn't have entered the race. E. The Cooper might still be married now.
Very good. We already know how the story started. We already know how it finished. As you know, the idea is to match the statements so they make sense. That is going to be the idea. I'm going to do number one as an example. It says, if Andrew had known about his phobia, then the answer, no, but it's only 5. No, I'm not going to give you the answers. They are too short. Okay, remember, you know the stories already? Make sure that the halves make sense. In grammar, any combination could work, but we already have some context established. So make sure that it makes sense. I'm gonna give you, again, 3 minutes. You already have your notes. That can be your point of reference. And then we see how you match the statements. 3 minutes starting now. Okay, let's see how you match the sentences. We're gonna listen, of course, and then I'm gonna ask you to read the statements. We're gonna listen only once. Le di clic donde no era, ya que. Those are the answers. Compare how you
Yeah,
match
teacher.
them. Ah, my mistake. Sometimes I forget, you know, and I always try to pay attention. Okay, not the check, but the play button. But that had to happen. Do you have the same answers, or maybe you had something different so we can compare?
Same answer, teacher.
Same.
Okay, very good. Well, guys, as you already noticed from the start, we were talking about a very, let's say, interesting, I dare to say, way of making statements. The grammatical name is talking about the third conditional. As the name states, in very general aspects, when we talk about the conditional, it's because there is a condition and then there is a result. Based on the tense, usually is a condition in present with a result in the future, right? When we talk about the third conditional, of course, we can't talk about present. In this case, we're talking about somehow trying to imagine a different past. We can't change how the events developed, right? Like in this context in particular, we had the story, difficult moments, but at the end, wonderful moments and a change in their future. We can't change how those difficult moments happened in their lives. But in some cases, we try to think, okay, maybe if a situation had a different, let's say, development of events, probably the result could have been something different. Look at this first example that we have in here. It says, if I had understood the instructions properly, I would have passed the exam. By reading this statement, what is the reality that I get? I didn't pass the exam because I didn't get the instructions, right? Notice that we begin the word with the word if, sorry. This is the condition and this was the result. I was expecting a different condition in my past, but unfortunately, the result was something different. As you already know, when we are talking about the conditionals, we can change the order and the meaning remains the same. The only difference is going to be the use of the commas, right? For example, now let's begin with the result. We wouldn't have got lost if my phone hadn't run out of battery. So what was the reality? That we actually got lost. And also that means that the mobile phone didn't have battery in that moment. So keep in mind that this conditional always aims at creating different scenarios from my past. My past already, let's say, happened. The situation can't be changed, we know that. But there are some cases that we want to imagine different scenarios with different circumstances and characteristics. This is the moment where we use the third conditional. In terms of grammar, it gets a little bit more, let's say, structured, has a lot of information. First of all, talking about past perfect. Remember that past perfect uses had and the verb in past participle. That would be for the condition. And then for the result, we are going to use one of the modals in past. In this case, talking about would have. And as you already know, after have, we use the verb in past participle. This is something that you studied yesterday. I'm going back to the first example. It says, I would have passed the exam. What would be this sentence in Spanish? Let's use Spanish for a moment. I would have passed the exam. Habría pasado el examen, right? And in the case of the first one, no habríamos perdido. So the reality is that I didn't pass and we got lost. So that is like that imaginary situation in my past. Don't forget, guys, that it doesn't matter the type of subject. Notice that could be a pronoun, could be you, could be the name of a person, like in this case, Steve. And in the case of the condition that has the past perfect, we use exactly the same modal. Modal no, auxiliary, sorry. We use had. If you want to use the contraction, look at the third example. You use the apostrophe and D. In this case, the context is telling us that this apostrophe is of had, of course. And then in the result, for the moment, probably the most common grammatical structure is with would, you know, but you already noticed yesterday's models. We can also use could or any other low probability model. Yes, Diego.
Teacher, is better use past perfect or would have?
No, it has to be past perfect to be third conditional, Diego. Because if I use have, that would be present and then I'm making the sentence real. But the whole context is talking about, notice, like a regret. Remember, guys, the meaning of regret? What is regret?
Arrepentir.
Arrepentimiento. Si fuera verbo, sería arrepentirse. Yeah. So, have make is like making the sentence real. But we're talking about something that we can't change. So, let's use had. So, it is third conditional. So every time that we think of something that we would like to change from our past, that is the moment when we use the third conditional, okay? Yeah, guys, any other question? Very good. So technically, we have already covered the different conditionals. And as I was telling you at the beginning, the good thing about the conditionals is that they are combination of tenses. Past perfect that you already know, and then the use of the modal. Usually, as I was telling you also, the common modal to use is would, but as you notice from the book, let's go back. Notice that here in the results, we also use might, that is a low probability modal, you know, in this case, talking about the impact in present. And that would make it mixed. Like I can't change the condition from the past, but maybe there is an impact in my present. But could have is also another possibility from the ones that we were studying yesterday. Okay, so this combination of two tenses is something that you already know. Now put it in the context that something that I can't change. Let me go back to the presentation because it is a regret. Okay. Well, guys, now we have landed to the time for the preparation of our project. I know that some of you have already uploaded your advances. Let's not forget what this advance in particular requires you to do. Remember, guys, that this is the final slideshow. One of the things that we said before is that there must be a visual aid in your video. It is not only like your face presented on the video and that's it. That's not the point. On the previous cycle, the second advance, you created the first part of the presentation. The type of event, when it was, and how it was. In this case, now you are going to include all the other parameters. Who was part of the event? That means that now you are going to include, let's say, a slide or a paragraph talking about the people who took part of that event that you were talking about, besides you, of course. Don't worry, Kiara. Also talking about why it is important, talking about how you felt, and of course, a full description of the scenario. Probably talking about the place in case that you were talking about, let's say a vacation, well, the ones that are talking about vacations, or if you're talking about a trip, well, not necessarily a vacation, if you're talking about a party, things like that. I know that you have already sent the information, but in some cases, you send like a whole paragraph that contains everything. Make sure that you actually, let's say, divide the information and edit it. So actually it is organized when you will eventually present your video. Remember, guys, this is the visual aid that you will be using. Before I send you, to your breakout rooms. Well, actually, this is going to be our image of reference. Let me share it with you. I'm gonna create 18 breakout rooms, okay? The idea, guys, is that you are going to the breakout rooms that corresponds to your number based on this image. If you have any question in particular, please let me know, okay? So I can visit you first. The ones that probably already decided on what you have already done that you are pretty sure, well, maybe with you is going to be like an easier way to do it, okay? Any questions, guys?
No, miss.
Okay, I'm gonna create them. So remember that in this case, you choose the breakout room that you belong to. Let's put it like that. So Karen Victoria goes to number 1, Xiomara to number 11, Manuel to number 16, and then I'll go and visit you. Okay, I have to make sure that you can share your screen, of course. Let's go. Hi,
Hi,
Beatriz.
teacher.
How's everything?
Okay, teacher, can you the correction for the first project? I share, teacher. Give me a moment, please.
Okay.
For the first
Did you
send.
send it?
Yes, teacher. You sent for the last level,
Yeah,
but
but that was before day 8 or after day 8. Because before day 8, I didn't see any document. And when I also told you, let me know, because I didn't see any document and then I didn't check anymore. Beatriz, ¿por
no
qué no me
problem.
recordó? Porque
No
para el día 8 ya no
problem,
había nada.
teacher.
No
No
problem,
problem.
Beatriz. Okay.
No problem, teacher.
Let's see.
But I aprovecho en este momento.
Claro que sí.
Okay. Teacher,
Vamos a revisar.
okay. I put in this part, pues lo que quiere decir es que es posible decir que estuve terriblemente preocupada
Okay. I
porque
was
ellos estuvieron
terribly
graves de salud.
Listo. Because I was terribly worried because they were gravely health as result of COVID. They were gravely health.
Yes.
They were gravely. O sea, ese es el ajuste. They were very.
Sí, yo hice este ajuste. Esto estaba antes.
Es que health
Y...
es solo salud.
Ah.
Ellos estuvieron gravemente salud. Más bien estuvieron gravemente enfermos.
Entonces,
Entonces,
sick.
más que ill, de pronto. Es...
Ill.
Sí, porque no somos, sí, ya queda que estuvieron gravemente enfermos porque gravemente salud no nos cuadra. Listo.
Ah, ok.
Mejor.
And the other is acá.
Thanks to the doctor de Carlos.
Pues yo había puesto que had possible of this, o sea, que gracias a él, pues todo esto fue posible. Es
Todo
como la
esto
idea.
fue posible. Mira que el who significa quién.
Sí.
Entonces, gracias a ellos, todo esto fue posible. Entonces, no es who. Entonces, permítame leer
Bueno,
otra vez.
acá dice, es posible traducir así, o sea, el doctor Corso, quien hizo posible todo esto, era como la idea, pero pues,
¿Quién hizo posible todo esto? Judith.
ujú,
Ah, ok. Esa que tienes ahí ya hace referencia ahí a ese
a
cuadrito.
él.
Sí, señora.
Ujú.
Sí, ahora
O
sí,
sea,
sí, señora.
sí,
Sí, señora, sí. Bien.
ok. Sí, esto lo cambié porque antes estaba así.
Ah,
Entonces,
listo.
listo.
Bien.
Y no, del resto sí ya hice las correcciones que su merced me hizo. Esa era como la que no se entendía porque pusiste el
Hmm.
interrogante y yo dije, ay, no.
No, pero era poquito, imagínese semejante texto. Pero
No,
bien,
pero
ya.
tenía muchas correcciones
Sí,
porque,
creo que
¿sabe
sí.
qué me está pasando? Que tengo que mejorar mucho. Que a veces pienso en el presente y escribo como pasado o pienso como pasado y escribo como presente.
Sí.
Entonces, sí, me confundo.
Sí, toca siempre hacer como esa doble revisión. Y más que ustedes están tan ocupados, entonces cuando hacen eso están cansados. Yo por eso opté por las tareas de las noches, como que si quieren, revisen al otro día con ojos frescos si el tiempo les permite, porque a veces a uno se le escapan cosas. Entonces siempre hay que
Sí,
hacerle segunda revisión ahí a eso.
sí, sí, la
Ah,
verdad
listo.
sí, eso me pasa. Y por
Mm.
ejemplo, los módulos, uy, no, me ha ido mal, pero mal, me he sentido
Ah,
tan
por
mal. Yo, pero
Dios.
¿por qué? Yo,
Mm.
bueno, pero me ha servido como para unos tips que sí a veces me confundo.
Ah, bueno, sí, toca verle el lado positivo.
Sí.
Bueno, listo,
Listo,
Beatriz.
teacher.
Me llama
Thank you.
Catherine. Bueno,
Ujú.
welcome. Bye.
Bye.
I mean,
Catherine, I was with Beatriz, sorry.
uh, don't worry.
Tell me.
I I would like to show you my slide, my presentation.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah. Mhm, mhm, yeah.
Okay. What is okay? This.
And is the finish the last one? Is this is new? Important people in my life come to be with me. I am describe this picture in the presentation. Yeah.
Ah, okay. I am describing. Mm-hmm.
I
Important
important
people.
people, my family, my friends, my boyfriends.
Boyfriends?
Uh,
Go back for a
boy,
moment. Eh,
boyfriend. Only
who,
one is.
who knows, Catherine? Who am I to say anything? Remember that probably you wanna give like a little description, like I'm gonna say something very general, like my family, my parents, my siblings, and my
Okay.
friends from high school. Yeah, not only say my family and my boyfriend. Oh, of
Okay.
course,
Okay.
I
But
don't want you.
I can
Hmm,
describe in the slide or I told about that.
talk about it. No, no, no. I mean, like this is perfect.
Okay, okay.
And just like to give us information. Of course, something that I always try to clarify. I don't want you to feel that I want you to share like a lot of personal information. The information that you consider like is relevant and also to give us context. Once
Yes,
again, not
okay.
only to say
My
family, friend, my
my,
boyfriend next.
my
No.
family, my older brother, my
Mm-hmm.
mom, my aunt, and my friends, my
Mm-hmm.
two friends of the career,
Mm-hmm.
and
Could
my
be.
boyfriend.
Okay.
And
You
I
can say
feel really grateful.
mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah.
But well, I know that probably, well, that, actually is going to be the assignment for the next cycle, like that script, like exactly what you're going to say, because of course you say here that you're feeling really grateful, but the idea is to add a little bit more, right?
I feel nervous, anxious, something else,
Yeah,
something
because
like that.
for example, you say, I feel really grateful because it was the final outcome of
This
many
is the
years of study. Ah,
in the
okay.
next. This was really important.
Okay.
Because I put blood, sweat, and tears.
Sweat
Sweat.
and tears. Okay. What
In the
else?
slide, I put only a short word.
Short description. Yeah,
Short
like in this
for
case.
no, how did you say?
To not what?
Sí, para que no se viera amontonado.
So it is not cluttered?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the idea, you know. What is important is what you're going to say, the information that you are going to share. Like in this case, like something very short and let's say simple in terms of it's easy to recognize. But of course, what matters eventually in that moment is what you say on your video.
Yeah, is really to remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Answers.
That's the idea. Good.
And I am put a video, a little short, a short video here, but
okay,
I don't who is there. No sé dónde está, pero lo voy a poner.
Okay.
In the scenery, there were some bouquets of brightly colored flowers.
Colored.
Colored flower. And this is all, Miss.
Okay. Well, let's not forget, hopefully you can put the video. That would be great. In case that you can't, well, keep an idea of a plan B. Okay?
Okay, Miss.
Okay, Catherine, thank you. I'm going to visit Diego that is calling me.
Okay, Miss.
Okay, bye, Catherine. We'll meet in a few minutes again in the general hall.
Okay, Miss.
Diego, I was with Catherine.
Hi, teacher. How are you?
Doing great. What about you?
I'm fine. Teacher, es que estaba leyendo la rúbrica no para esta, sino para la siguiente. Y, o sea, para el siguiente ya tenemos que tener el video listo.
No, todavía no. Es para B1.5. En el siguiente sigue siendo trabajo escrito y es el script, como el libreto de lo que ustedes van a decir en el video.
Ah, ok, bueno, esa me sirve. Ahí sí ya adelantaría trabajo de lo que yo le comenté a su merced la semana antepasada.
Sí, sí, señor. Sí, no, todavía seguimos en la parte como administrativa, por decirlo así. Ya el propio performance es en el final de B1.5 que vendría siendo
La
finales de
presentación.
mayo, principios de junio, sí, señor. Todavía
Ah,
aquí
bueno,
seguimos
perfecto.
con en la pasada, solo terminando de colocar los aspectos. Aunque usted ya me había contado que usted tiene una idea diferente, pero que iba a subir las diapositivas como por el
Sí,
manejo de la
para...
información, por decirlo
Ajá.
así.
Sí, señora.
Pero
Sí,
sí.
técnicamente pues la información va a ser esa misma, pero pues la forma en la que lo va a mostrar es muy diferente.
Sí, sí, sí. Sí, lo recuerdo.
Sí, señora. Ah, listo, profe.
Ah,
Muchísimas
listo,
gracias.
perfecto. Ok. Bye.
Bye, teacher.
Hi, Karen.
Hola, teacher.
¿Qué tal todo? ¿Cómo vamos?
Bien.
Eso.
Para mostrarle la
Perfecto.
pues como en, ay, no se puede como compartir.
¿Cómo que no? Ah, sí, ¿no?
No.
Compartir pantalla. Sí, tengo varios participantes, pueden compartir de forma
Ah,
simultánea.
ya.
Sí. Thanks.
Como la vez pasada, pues me había confundido y había hecho esa parte. Hice la parte, el tercer proyecto.
Sí,
Entonces,
yo adelante.
sí,
Okay, who was part of the event?
leí,
My partner, my sister, my
leí el
friend.
que no era. Y pues decía que con poquito texto, ¿cierto?
Ujú, exacto. Entonces, importante acá que cuando llegues, por ejemplo, sea positiva, no solo digas, who was part of the event? Bueno, my parents, my sister, my friend, my close family and friend. No, como
Ujú.
que un poquito más, ¿no? Por ejemplo, pues my parents, no hay mucho más que decir ahí, pero digamos my friends, ya sea que digas, amigos de estudio, también de donde vivo, amigos lejanos, amigos cercanos, bueno, que también lo colocas acá, close friends of the family, ahí puedes decir, voy a decir algo al azar, mis padrinos, vecinos que me vieron crecer, entonces porque la idea siempre es colocar poquita información en las diapositivas, pero que al mismo tiempo no solo sea leer, digamos, estos 4 grupos de personas y ya, sino que pueda regalar una pequeña descripción o pueden decir, my parents, mi mamá se llama tal, tantos años, mi papá se llama tal, tantos años. Es como mi intención en esta parte, ¿listo?
Ok.
Es algo mínimo que quiera contar porque no sé, tampoco que me cuente detalles personales. What it happened, it was on the first floor of my house. También, sí puede contar un poquito más. En la ciudad tal, en el barrio tal, o bueno, es una
Pero
casa esquinera
pues,
grande, no sé.
sí, entonces eso lo iría a complementar yo en
Exacto,
la
sí.
presentación.
Sí, señora, así que no vaya ahí, sino que digamos que la intención siempre es, digamos, un poquito más de lo que aparece en la diapositiva. Eso es lo que uno busca. How it felt. Mire, por ejemplo, si aquí tiene una pequeña explicación que usted va a expandir. Entonces, happy, I entered the WIS. Entonces, porque ingresé a la carrera tal en la Universidad Industrial de Santander, estresada, llegaron temprano. Yo me acuerdo que en el texto decía que hubo gente que llegó muy temprano y entonces aprovecharon y los pusieron a que dieran una manito. Entonces, eso es
Sí.
algo que usted puede decir extra ahí. Yo sé porque ya lo leí, pero digamos sus compañeros no lo saben. Entonces me parece que está súper chévere como lo tiene, porque yo sé que usted va a contar un poquito más en el video. They help with the decoration. Ujú. Why is important? Why is it important?
Ah, is it? Listo,
Ujú.
voy a corregir eso.
Y eso es.
Y ya,
Perfecto, Karen, muy bien.
listo, gracias,
Listo. Lo
teacher.
voy a llamar a la sala para terminar la sesión oficialmente y nos vamos. ¿Listo?
Listo, gracias.
Listo, thank you. Bye. Well, guys, welcome back. Basically, just like to wrap up the session, don't forget that you have until tomorrow, midnight, to upload the presentation. This is the link I sent today, the email that contains this same link. Once again, if you are not sure, don't forget to check the parameters, but at the end of the day, The idea is that you have like that final presentation. I'm trying to get it. Okay. Well, I'm gonna send it also to the whole group, and that will be it. So guys, don't forget that that is going to be one of the first deadlines that we have, the project for tomorrow. Guys, as usual, thank you very much. See you tomorrow and have a good night. Bye-bye.